There is something very strange happening. Male loneliness is slowly becoming a silent crisis. In the United States, 1 in 4 men between the ages of 15 and 34 admit that they often struggle with loneliness. But the important point is that this loneliness is not always easy to see. They still go to school, they still go to work, they still laugh, talk, and show up in front of other people as if everything is fine. So what is really going on? How can millions of men feel lonely in a time when people can connect with each other with just one tap? Today, let's explore with Apex the psychology behind male loneliness. If you are a man, you may see a part of yourself in this video. And if you are not, think about your father, your brother, your partner, or the men around you. Whether you are looking for answers for yourself or want to become a stronger support for the people around you, stay with me until the end of this video. To understand why many men feel alone, we first need to look again at the way we usually see this problem. Male loneliness is rarely loud or shown through complaints. It often hides quietly behind a busy schedule, a silence that is hard to understand, or even behind a man who seems to be at the peak of his career. To see what is really happening inside, we need to slowly break down the psychological conflicts that have formed over time and become deeply rooted in the way a man sees himself as he grows up. When we talk about the idea of loneliness, psychology research has shown a major difference in how men and women define it. According to a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, when women feel lonely, they often connect that feeling to the lack of close personal relationships, especially romantic love or a close friend they can open up to. But for men, loneliness takes a different shape. They feel lonely when they lack a community, a group, or a brotherhood where they feel they belong. A man may be in a happy romantic relationship and may have an understanding wife, but he can still feel deeply empty if he does not have male friends to share other parts of life with. However, the biggest paradox lies in the very nature of connection. Two men can talk for a long time about work, cars, football, the stock market, or how their favorite team just won. Those conversations can create familiarity, but they do not always create an emotional shelter. A real friendship, the kind that can pull a man out of loneliness, usually begins at a deeper place. It begins when one person trusts the other enough to say, "I'm exhausted, I'm scared about," or "I really don't know what to do next." When two people are willing to be honest about their weaknesses, that is when they truly find a strong connection with each other. But for men, this goes completely against what society has programmed them to believe. Since they were little boys, they have been shaped by an invisible model of masculinity. Being a man means being tough, not crying, not being afraid, being a strong support for others, and always solving every problem on their own. Weakness is treated like failure. Men are not allowed to be a crybaby in front of other men. This social belief forces them to put on a very perfect psychological mask whenever they step outside. This mask helps them survive. It helps them move forward at work. It helps them keep their pride. But at the same time, it also becomes a soundproof wall that traps them. And so they get stuck in a very painful loop. To feel less lonely, they need real friendship. To have real friendship, they need to be honest about what they are going through. But to keep the image of being a man who is fine, they learn to hide those exact things. As a result, they may have dozens of social connections, but not one person they can call at 2 a.m. They have people to talk to, but no one they can be real with. And from here, loneliness is no longer just an inner feeling. It begins to show up in how they maintain friendships, how they communicate, and how they disappear from each other's lives without anyone noticing in time. Male isolation is often not an active choice. It is the result of behavior patterns that have been formed across many generations. To understand this clearly, we need to look at two main barriers that hold men back from connecting. Barrier 1, passiveness in maintaining connection. Looking back, most men find it easiest to make friends when they are still in school. That is the stage when the environment naturally creates chances to connect, from classrooms and lecture halls to group activities. At that age, we do not need to put in too much effort to have friends because we see each other and do things together every day. But the turning point comes when adulthood begins. There is no clear moment when the friendship ends. The messages just become less frequent. Plans get delayed. Everyone becomes busier on the weekend. One person moves to another state. One person gets married. One person starts working remotely. Then one day he realizes he still has many names in his contacts, but when life hits rock bottom, he does not know who to call. Hesitation and fear of rejection make him choose silence, and slowly he falls into isolation without even realizing it. Barrier 2. Differences in communication style. Studies in behavioral psychology have pointed out something very interesting. Women are often more comfortable with face-to-face communication. Two women can sit across from each other in a coffee shop, look directly into each other's eyes, and talk for hours. Eye contact can help them release oxytocin, the hormone linked to bonding. In contrast, for many men, being placed in a situation where they have to sit across from someone at an empty table and talk about feelings can feel uncomfortable and stressful. A direct stare can accidentally create an atmosphere that feels like an interrogation or a confrontation instead of relaxation. That is why most men often feel more natural when they interact side by side. Their common habit is to focus together on a third object or a shared goal in front of them. They look at a screen while playing games, look out at a lake while fishing, look at the TV while watching football, or look down at the engine of a car they are fixing. When the pressure to keep eye contact disappears, they become much more comfortable. The most honest things men say often come out most naturally when their eyes are both looking at something else. However, in modern life, as in-person meetings are slowly replaced by online messages, men are taking away from themselves the real-life, side-by-side experiences that are actually the most natural environment for them to open up. And when they cannot find connection in the real world, they start looking for another shelter. But unfortunately, that shelter becomes a trap. We are living in a time when a man's value is often placed on a scale and measured in a very harsh way. The core factor that shapes a man's self-esteem is his ability to provide and his job security. In an unstable economy, unemployment, loss of direction, or simply earning less than friends of the same age can hit a man's mind very hard. When he cannot meet the standard of success that society has created, he begins to feel inferior. Shame and low self-worth make him isolate himself automatically. He refuses calls from friends and avoids class reunions because he fears judgment, comparison, and most of all, pity. He takes away his own right to join a community because he feels he is no longer worthy. Instead of facing that pain and seeking help, millions of men choose to escape into the digital world. The internet offers a perfect way out, a place where they do not have to face the strict standards of real life. They sink into video games, where they can easily receive rewards and virtual recognition. They turn to pornography as a replacement for real physical closeness. They consume social media content or follow influencers to experience the feeling of having virtual friends. Even popular culture helps romanticize this loneliness. The image of lonely, cold men walking under neon rain in movies like Blade Runner 2049, or falling in love with an artificial intelligence in the movie Her, has become an attractive belief system for men. They see themselves in that quiet and tragic feeling. Instead of trying to get out, they begin to see loneliness as a badge of strength, a silent sacrifice made by lone wolves. But this is an extremely dangerous psychological trap. Social media and the internet provide short-term dopamine, creating the illusion that they are connected. But when the screen turns off, reality feels even emptier. Not only that, these platforms constantly show images of other men who seem richer, more muscular, and more fulfilled in life. Instead of easing the pain, the virtual world becomes a hidden battlefield, where each login reminds a man that he is losing. When resentment towards society combines with isolation, it creates a toxic spiral that pulls him further and further away from the light of real connection. At this point, you may understand yourself or the lonely men around you more clearly, but admitting loneliness is only the first step. How can they step out of the wall they built around themselves? Instead of empty advice like, be more confident, or open up, I will share 5 practical steps to help lonely men regain control of their social lives. Step 1. Communicate side by side. As mentioned earlier, asking a male friend to meet at a coffee shop, sit face to face, and try to come up with things to talk about can sometimes feel like torture for the male mind. To break this barrier, use this natural style of interaction. Do not meet just to talk about feelings. Meet to do something. When you want to reconnect with a friend, Connect the meeting to a physical goal. Invite him to watch a football game, play pool, go to the gym, go fishing, fix something in the garage, grill food in the backyard, or simply come over, order pizza, and watch a game. When both people focus their attention on a third object, the defensive walls in the mind naturally come down. The pressure to keep the conversation going disappears. Silence while doing something together does not feel awkward. It feels natural. And in those safe, quiet moments, when the eyes are looking forward, the most honest words about life, work, or pressure often come out in the smoothest way. Step 2, create the habit of showing up. One reason we easily had close friends during school years is a psychology principle called the mere exposure effect. Being placed in the same classroom for 8 hours a day forced us to see each other again and again. Familiarity slowly created a sense of safety and connection. But in adulthood, the pattern of going to work and going home completely cuts off this natural environment. Men need to create their own third place. This is a sociology concept that refers to a space that is not home and not work. It could be a gym, a local basketball court, a running club, or simply a familiar coffee shop. The key here is consistency. Show up there at the same time, again and again, every week. You do not need to rush towards strangers and start talking on the first day. Just focus on doing your own thing. Your regular presence will naturally turn you into a familiar person. Nods and greetings will appear first, then short small talk. And finally, friendship can grow in a very natural and unforced way. Step 3, take back the lead. Waiting for other people to remember you is a very toxic feeling. When a man lies on the sofa on a Saturday night, scrolls on his phone, and sees other people going out, he often tends to think, nobody cares about me. But the truth is, many other men are also lying on the sofa, looking at their phones, and thinking the exact same thing. This passiveness is the leftover habit of depending on other people to arrange social plans. Train yourself to become active again. You have to be the one who designs your social circle. Start with low-stakes events. Do not plan complicated parties. A simple message is enough. Are you free tonight? Come over and watch a movie with me. We can order pizza. Or, want to grab a beer after work? You have to prepare yourself for rejection. People may say no because they are busy or tired, not because they hate you. Having the courage to send an invitation without expecting too much is how you prove that you are taking ownership of your own life instead of letting yourself become a victim of waiting. Step 4, share small vulnerabilities. The biggest problem for men is that they think opening up means telling a tragic story, crying, or becoming an emotional burden to someone else. This misunderstanding makes them choose silence, rather than risk losing their strong image. Deep friendship is not built from tearful confessions right from the beginning. It begins with very small imperfections. Drop small signals that show you are not perfect. Instead of trying to act like you know everything, say, I know nothing about this stock investing thing. If you understand it, can you show me the basics? Instead of saying everything is fine, take a breath and say, this project at work has been wearing me out lately. Or simply say, I had an argument with my wife yesterday and honestly, I'm annoyed. When you dare to ask for help and dare to put yourself in the position of not knowing, that is a quiet and subtle form of communication. It sends the message, I trust you enough to let you see an unfinished part of me. And when you do that, the other person will also feel safe enough to take off their own mask. Step 5, remove money pressure from friendship. Financial insecurity is the #1 enemy of connection. Many men think, I'll wait until my job is stable, my debt is paid off, and I have more money before I invite the guys out for drinks. They tightly connect their self-worth with their net worth. As a result, when they face hardship, the exact time when they need emotional support the most, they choose to hide in a cave and cut off all contact. Money and friendship need to be clearly separated. Psychology shows that real friends are not friends with you because of your job title or your wallet. They value you because of your humor, the way you keep secrets, your loyalty, or the way you always listen to them. Do not let ego stop you. During the hardest times, when you dare to send a message like, I'm a little tight on money lately, want to grab a takeout coffee and walk around the park for a bit, that becomes the most powerful test. It removes shallow relationships and keeps the people who truly care about the person inside you. Friendship is not expensive. Only our ego is expensive. In the end, maybe no one truly wants loneliness. The barriers that make men hesitate to connect are often just habits we unknowingly learn from our environment and from the way society expects men to act tough. We learn to handle everything on our own, and slowly opening up begins to feel strange and difficult. But just like any other habit, we can absolutely learn new ways. Strength does not always mean doing everything alone. Sometimes it simply means having the courage to admit that we also need connection around us. Change can begin with very small things: a message, an invitation to eat, or simply allowing yourself to show imperfection in front of a friend you trust. If this video helps you look at your own experience again, or understand the people you love more deeply, please share your thoughts in the comments. Your stories are how we create a more open and honest community together. Don't forget to subscribe so we can continue this journey of understanding psychology together. Thank you for spending time with Apex today.